Alright, hey guys, Larry here. Today we're going to go over creating an AWS Lambda function and creating a Lambda layer with AWS SAM. SAM stands for Serverless Application Management, which is a bit of a misnomer because it's not actually serverless. But what AWS SAM allows you to do is not have to worry about managing what kind of server you want to run your web app or what kind of infrastructure you want to use. I'm going to be working through this tutorial. The link will be in the description below. And the first thing we need to do before we set anything else up is set up the AWS CLI and set up our user permissions so that we can do the rest of this. All right. We're going to go create an EC2 instance first. We've done this multiple times and you shouldn't have any trouble. If you do, follow the other videos I've uploaded. Create a new user in our IAM console. This is for the purposes of making sure permissions are separated and no users have permissions that they don't have to have. So we're going to make one just for this demo. And we're going to call this one Lambda demo and give it all access types. We're going to add it to Lambda demo group. And you want to save this information. You're going to need it later. So in addition to the default policies that we've set up on this user, we need to have S3 permissions, CloudFormation full access, IAM full access, Lambda full access, and an Amazon API gateway admin permission. So we're just going to add all that. Alright, so now that we've added all this, we want to connect to our EC2 instance. After that, we're going to check to see our CLI is installed. Make sure you have your AWS CLI installed. I do in this case, but I'm going to go through the steps just in case you don't. So we're just going to go step by step. First, copy these commands and run them. So we want to run this real quick to see what version we're running. Cool. We want to configure with our credentials, which AWS region is our default region, and what sort of output we want in our command line. So we're going to do that using the details that you downloaded previously. You can see here I have access key, secret access key. You're going to need both of them. So now we want to do AWS configure and use the credentials that we just downloaded. I'm going to use US West 2 as our default region, which is Oregon. And I'm going to have JSON as our default output format. So now we're going to create a bucket. We want to change bucket name here and region here to actual values. Region, we're going to use US West 2. And the bucket we're going to use will depend on what you want to name it. Bucket names have to be unique, I'm pretty sure, so don't use the same one I'm using. I'm going to do Lambda demo 29. And now we want to install Docker because we're going to have to test our applications locally later. Make sure everything's updated. And then install Docker. So we're going to start the service. We're going to add our current user, which is EC2 user, to the Docker group so we can run Docker without having to do sudo every time. And to check to see if this works, we're going to log in and log out. Logging out is Control D on a Mac. So try Docker PS to see if this works. And now we need to install Homebrew. Before we do that, we need to make sure we have Git installed. So check for Git by typing Git. If it's not there, like it isn't in this case, do sudo yum install Git. And now we're going to copy this command and run it. Alright, we're going to run these 4 commands to add it to our path. And we're going to check for successful installation. Now with Homebrew installed, we can install the SAM CLI. This might take a bit. So now we want to create our new application. The first we're going to do in this root directory is run this sam init command. We're going to use a managed application template. Call this sam app. We're going to use npm as our dependencies. We're going to use npm as our dependency manager. And we're going to clone the template. We're going to use hello world as our starting base. And to get a view like this, to make sure we're following along correctly, we're going to install tree real quick. So now that we're done, we can go to the actual directory or take a look at it. More or less lines up with what we see. So go within the hello world directory and run this npm install command. So one step I forgot is that we actually need to install npm ourselves. So we're going to do that real quick. We're going to install nvm, which is node version manager. So we're going to install nvm first. And then activate it. Now we want to do nvm install node. And now we can do npm install temp units con. Now we want to edit some of the code from the hello world template to more accurately work for our app. This app, by the way, is going to be just a simple temperature conversion app from Fahrenheit to Celsius and from Celsius to Fahrenheit. And you're going to be able to access this app through an API. So we want to edit the JavaScript itself first. Remove everything that's already there. And paste this code in. And you're going to now edit the YAML file. Again, remove everything and paste this code in. All right, we're going to see if this works locally by running sam local start-API. And it seems to be running. Now you want to log into a different instance and using curl actually check to see if it's working. Because it says, so we're going to try curling. We should get the same output as the tutorial. See it running here. All right, and our request return from Fahrenheit to Celsius, originally 45, now it's 7.222 repeating, which is exactly what it says in the tutorial. So far our code lines up properly. Now that we've developed this application, we need to deploy it. So quit this real quick. And run this create bucket command with the bucket you created earlier. So here where I've written Lambda demo 29, you want to put in the name of your own bucket. And now we're going to run this command below. You can name your stack anything. I'm just going to name mine Lambda demo. And this might take a bit. So something like this, successfully created / updated stack. If you run into an error along the way, most likely it's some form of permission issue that you can fix by adding permissions to your IAM user. Anyways, now that we're done with that, we're going to go to the Lambda console. Initially, when I checked this page, it hadn't shown up, but around 5 minutes later, it's here. So if it doesn't show up at first, wait a little. Don't freak out. So now that we're here, we can access the API gateway. We have this link here. So here the only values that matter are the values after prod here. We have two values we want to input. The first one is what sort of conversion we want to make, i.e. like Fahrenheit to Celsius or Celsius to Fahrenheit. So let's do Celsius to Fahrenheit. And the second is the initial value of the temperature that we want to convert. So let's say we have 67 Fahrenheit. That converts to 19.4 repeating degrees. So now that the app is running, we want to create a layer so that we can separate the code from its dependencies. And our final directory is going to look a little something like this. We want to create this dependencies directory and then create a Node.js directory. And then from there, we're going to move our package JSON from hello world directly into the Node.js directory, which I've done here. And then we want to edit our package JSON file. So this is what your final package JSON file should look like. You're only including one dependency, which is temp units convert. And then you want to run npm install. And now that you've updated your JSON file, you want to go back and update your YAML file as well. So go back to the base SAM app directory and edit the template YAML file. Just copy and paste code over here. These changes mainly indicate that you have this temp conversion depth layer that tells what dependencies your Lambda needs, and this layers section here points towards that resource. So now that we've made all these changes, we want to try and see if it still works. So we're going to run it locally. So same as before, do sam local start API. And in our other terminal window, we're going to run the same command as before just to see if we get the same result. Which we do. Note that I've ran this before already, and that's why during these steps it says building image and then requested to skip pulling images. If you haven't built it before, this is your first time running it with this new version, it's going to save the image, but otherwise it's going to use previously cached image. And the results are the same as what we expected, so everything looks good here. And yeah, that's how you set up a layer for a Lambda function running with AWS SAM. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Thank you for watching.